The brain, within its groove, runs evenly and true. But let a splinter swerve. 'Twere easier for you to put the water back when floods have slit the hills and scooped a turnpike for themselves and blotted out the mills.
I'll tell you a little bit about what the science was behind what we're trying to do with the main CANDO project. So we're interested in new approaches to trying to treat epilepsy. One of the sort of new tools that we have at our disposal when thinking about treating the brain is to think about what's called neurostimulation, which is a way of actually sort of artificially putting signals into the brain.
I'm mostly working with two artists, Aldworth and Andrew Carnie, and we're going to spend time over the next 18 months working with Andrew and his colleagues to understand more about the CANDO project, and Susan and Andrew will be making new works which will be shown in an exhibition or exhibitions at the Hatton Gallery and Vane in early 2020.
Growing up with epilepsy, I lived what I would call a healthy life.
Avenue of the CANDO project that we're very excited about, which is public engagement activity involving theatre and artwork and virtual reality.
One of the principal things that I'm interested in, and I'm interested in this project, is really how the science will affect us and our kind of view of who we are and how we operate. It seems to me that as a principle in all of the projects I'm looking at, is kind of breaking down a barrier about the boundaries of ourselves and who we are and how we are in the world and our relationship to each other.
I do believe that sometimes that has given us a positive outlook on what you can do rather than what you can't do.
In this particular project, it seems to me that as an artist, I can start looking at the notions of hybridity. What does it mean if you put an implant into someone's brain? Are they the same sense of self for themselves, and do we view them differently? It's always very important to me to talk to people about what it feels like to have epilepsy, and I'm hoping in the work I'll do for this project I might be able to get under the skin of what it feels like to experience it, and maybe, I don't know, through the artwork, apart from it standing on its own feet, you might be able to get rid of some of that stigma.
Yes, I had tonic-clonic seizures, which are very visual, and in the postictal state, which is the time when you are aware of some sense and people are watching you and you know what you want to see. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but you know when somebody's saying you're all right, you're okay, you're going to be fine, that you want to say it's not all right, I'm not fine, I'm annoyed and I'm helpless in that moment because I know I can't speak.
So really what we'd like to be able to do is we'd like to be able to individually address the different sort of brain cells that we have, so target excitatory cells or inhibitory cells, but we'd also like to listen to what's going on in the brain at the same time. So we'd like to sort of tell what activity is building up. And this is a bit like pressing the right keys on the piano, but also listening to what the rest of the orchestra is doing at the same time. Okay? And we didn't used to be able to do this, but this is now becoming possible, and it's becoming possible thanks to a technique called optogenetics.
What's become clearer and clearer is that you cannot separate the medicine, the science from the human, and you cannot separate the human from the science. But I think for us, as operating theatre, our challenge has been to learn the language, and now our job is to communicate. And we're willing to go out and communicate some of the ideas that this project brings up. Some of them are particularly challenging. Epilepsy is like a thumbprint. Every single person is different. We've spent several months interviewing people who've been very generous with their time. And in every case, the story, the experiences are really quite different. And so we're assuming this opportunity, knowing that it's a language that we're never going to fully learn.
I had a friend who actually said to me, if I had epilepsy, I wouldn't go out the house. I says, well, what kind of an existence would that be? What a waste of a life. I says, I'm going to go out, it's not going to stop me living my life.